I'm spending 1 hour gathering in the mist so you don't have to. With 2025 coming to a close and all the changes the mists have went through in the later half of this year, I'm answering the question, is it worth gathering in the mist moving into 2026? So let's find out, and of course we are starting from Brazilian, dropping right into a solo lethal mist. So, starting off in a tier 6 mist, hopefully we'll be able to find some enchanteds along the way. Obviously, we are going to go after tier 6 mobs and any enchanted resources. I'm going to get as far away from that as I can. It just disappeared from the minimap, though. So that probably means somebody's running it. So I'm going to head up this way. So starting this run off with 2 empty journals and a full set of skinning gear in my gloves. Let me wait the 5 seconds and pop the pie. And we begin. Somebody else definitely been through here. Silver on the ground, the body of an elemental or a mob there. Usually those despawn pretty fast. I don't really care about 6 flat stone. We all know that it has such little value. And if you're new to gathering, that's your introduction to stone. Everything 6.1 and below when it comes to stone has virtually no value, and it doesn't deserve to be gathered. Obviously, you need to gather it to spec up, but the real value starts at 6.2, I'd say, and above. So 6.2, 6.3, 7 flat, 1, 2, all that stuff. We are definitely right behind another gatherer, so I'm going to run along this river to avoid being directly behind them in their path. Oh, we got 2 people fighting right there. They are fighting over the injured Wisp, but I'm gonna move away from them, which is unfortunate given the 6.1 skin that we just saw. But I don't want to get caught in the crossfire of that. I'll let them fight. Looks like that one might be following me. Now, compared to the Roads of Avalon and compared to the Black Zone, where your biggest threats are going to be large groups, so you're going to find groups of 7, groups of 10, groups of 20. The Mist is a little bit different. Obviously, the Mist doesn't have potential for groups of 10 or 20, so the biggest thing you're going to run into is the groups of 1 and maybe 2. These wolves are so annoying, and I did not switch to my poison. But be careful, because just because it's 1 or 2 people does not mean it is necessarily easier. The Mists have mechanics to make 1v1s a little bit more even, so you can't just run away. As you can see, there's this symbol up here, Impenetrable Mists. It decreases your healing cast, as well as your mount health and your mount armor. So it makes your mounts significantly less tanky. And Mist gankers, they have figured out how to take advantage of that. So one of the worst things you're going to run across is going to be gankers riding low HP and low armor mounts. The Raven is one of the more popular ones right now. And basically they're going to purposely pull mobs, get hit by the mobs a bunch, and dismount themselves, force dismount themselves. And what that does is, and I've explained this in my last video, what that does is basically give them free cooldown. So now they can force dismount themselves and instantly jump you with absolutely no repercussions for being right next to you. Isn't that fun? Well, that's very nice. .3, even as stone, that's pretty good. Looks like that injured Wisp is still in play. Now it's down over by the stone spot, the gathering area. So when it comes to finding enchanted wisps, that's what every gatherer wants when they're out here in the mists, right? You want to find an enchanted wisp to take you to a tier 7 or hopefully a tier 8 zone so you can get those good, oh, so good resources, right? But you're probably wondering, how do I do it? How can I find it regularly? I see people find them all the time and I just don't know how. Well, if you're a veteran, you probably do know how, but if you're new to gathering or new to the game in general, the first thing you're going to want to do is be in a mist, right? When this timer starts counting down, so you have 5 minutes to find another mist or get kicked to the zone that you entered from. In our case, that's Brazilian. But as you're gathering, you're going to notice a lot more loose wisps laying around. I once again did not pop my poison. That's all right. But you're going to notice a lot more loose wisps lying around. Try saying that 10 times fast. Loose wisps. Sheerly because of the higher volume, you have a higher chance of finding enchanted wisps. So when that timer starts, you just get on your mount and you start running around and listen for the whispers or the whistles. And as you do it, you'll learn what a caged whistle sounds like versus a loose whistle. And so just follow the noise. This is the third tier 3 material that we found. Very nice. Hopefully some of that luck can carry over into wisps. Now, when you're hunting for wisps, typically they like to spawn near tree clusters or big trees. So, those are easily marked just by these dark spots on the map. Try to stick near those. That'll increase your chances of finding a wisp. If I could stop aggroing everything, that would be fantastic. Now, worst case scenario, you don't find an enchanted wisp, right? It's not guaranteed. You're not always going to find one. And if that happens, then you just take a common wisp and you jump into another tier 6 mist. You get to feel the power of the tier 6s. And honestly, it isn't that bad. As you get your spec higher, tier 6s, especially in high volumes, really hold their own in value. So I've got less than a minute. Probably just going to take the next loose wisp that I come across. So this is unfortunately going to bring me to another tier 6 one. Let's just hope for some better luck next time. Now, the one that we were just in, I would call it a stale mist. It had a lot of... The reason I call it a stale mist is because it had a lot of stuff in play. There was already the weakened Wisp that was moving, a lot of players in there, so it was clearly open for a bit of time. And so this one seems a little less stale, a little bit more fresh. Hopefully we can get more bang for our buck out of it. Although that last one did give us quite a few .3s, so can't really be mad, can I? Mysterious stranger down here. Let's see. Combat guy. Great axe. When you're in the mist, you're going to encounter people who... they get their jollies just wasting their time. He actually said something. I couldn't see what he said. But potential that he was going to try to follow me. Had people that do that. They just try to follow you around the mist, eventually pushing you out of it. You're going to find people like that. They get absolutely no value. I mean, they don't get to kill you, and you don't get to gather. So it's the most annoying thing in the world. I think that's even more annoying than the gankers that force dismount themselves. Nope, I don't think I'm going to be able to see what he said. Hopefully it wasn't anything crazy. Ooh. Well, that's free. And kind of useless. Take that. So we'll put the coin bags in our stockpile. The tomes, can't really do anything with the tomes because I can't sell them. So I'll probably just put them into a chest for when I go fame farming. And I unlocked my adventure challenge, Snow Husky. Now, when it comes to gathering, here's just some general advice I like to share. I see a lot of... I see some people share different information about this, but this is my 2 cents on it. There's some people who tell you to bring less than tier 8 gathering tools in the lethal zone because of the risk. But in the reality, you always want to bring the highest level of tools you have. So if you have tier 8 tools unlocked, bring your tier 8 tools. If you have tier 6 tools unlocked, bring your tier 6. Always bring the highest. Never bring Avalonian tools to the lethal zone. Unless you're like a Goldstein and you can absolutely win your fights, or like a Nendi's level billionaire or things like that. Never bring Avalonian tools to the lethal zone. That's just way too much to risk. But always bring the highest level tools that you can. And the reasoning is super simple. Gathering is all about speed, right? How fast can I make money? That's why we do these in hour increments. We want to make as much money in as short amount of time as possible. And having higher tools means you gather faster. So, doesn't exactly tell you the speed, right? But you can feel it. When you gather a tier 6 with a tier 6 tool, it's going to feel a little bit slower than gathering a tier 6 with a tier 7. And it's sure going to be a lot bit slower than gathering a tier 6 with a tier 8 tool. So always bring the highest level of tools. That's my point. I call it time to gather. That's the stat. Right, that's what I have labeled it. Time to gather. You want the lowest time to gather possible. Ooh, some 4-point blue. I'll take that. That's nice. 4-point blue, that's about... Oh. 4-point blue ore is about a 1-to-1, but wood is not as strong value-wise. I think there's a player nearby, so we'll have to keep an eye out. A key thing about mists is you have to use more than just your sight. You have to use your sense of hearing as well. You can usually hear another player before you can see another player, especially in the mist. Did something aggro? Do you hear fighting? Things like that. Oh, I accidentally got tagged by that. There's the countdown, so let's hope that we can find a enchanted wisp this time around. Two commons right next to each other. Lot of mists. Big quantity. We've got the quantity part down. Now let's get the quality part down, please. Now, 2 points about the loose wisps. One is a fact. One is like a headcanon of mine. So, the headcanon first. I think enchanted wisps are visually smaller, even if you can't tell based on their color. Like sometimes it's a hard time, you have a hard time telling rares from commons. I think they're visually smaller more often or not, but that is just my headcanon. The fact when it comes to the wisps is when you're near one and you don't quite see it yet, you will have the chance to see like sparkles on the screen, and they're very distinct. So you see a sparkle, it is the color of the wisp that it is, you know, indicating that is nearby. So if you see light blue, it's a common wisp. If you see dark blue, it's a rare wisp. If you see purple, it is an epic wisp. And if you see the ever elusive golden, it is a legendary wisp. So while you're running around, keep an eye out for those sparkles. You might pass a wisp that's right off the screen, and if you catch those sparkles, like we just saw some right there, go ahead and rewind, slow it down, and they were light blue, so they showed a common wisp. Minute and a half left. All right, with about 45 seconds left, I'm just going to probably have to take the next one I find. And unless we get extremely lucky, that is probably just going to be a common one. Yep. So today is the day for Tier 6, huh? Really showcasing the power of just Tier 6 gathering. Let's check out this fiber spot. We will lap the lake. See if we can grab any enchanteds out of here. Now, at my spec, I can gather the nodes decently fast. As you can see, takes maybe the count of 3.5 seconds to gather. But the reason, as I've explained before, that we don't gather the nodes is they're not always going to spawn 5 out of 5. More often than not, you're going to find 1 or 2 out of 5. And because they don't gather as fast as mobs, which do spawn with the full 5 out of 5, it's just not worth it. But as you get higher spec, you can kind of make that decision a little bit more loosely, I would say. So the reason I don't gather them is because even though I still have decently high spec on Tier 6, it's still pretty slow when I could be running around looking for the mobs. So no enchanteds here. So let's start looking. Now, when it comes to the gathering hide, or the gathering chestplate, is switching the skill back and forth annoying? I'm not gonna lie. Yes, very much so, at least for me. It's very, very irritating. But is it beneficial? Also, yes. Because, as you can see, that poison kills skinning things a lot faster. For something as annoying as that wolf, I want to kill it before it starts doing its stupid little dash. But switching back as soon as you kill it is just as important, because that is an invisible ability. So just like the Assassin's Jacket gives you a circle of invisibility for, let's see, how long does it last? 4 seconds. No, 7 seconds. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong timer. So if you're getting ran up on, it gives you a little bit of invisibility to give you a window to decide what to do and get yourself out of there. So as you saw, just like I was talking about, time to gather. We gathered that stack of 5 so much faster than we would have gathered any of these. Another just random general piece of advice: always check the corners. Always check the corners back here. The reason I say that is because just enough people don't check the corners when they're gathering. They could have passed up some entirely juicy goodies. So don't be that person that misses out on a 0.2 or a 0.3 or something. Just check the corner. Takes all of maybe 2 seconds. Who knows what you could find. Oh, don't want that. Now, my apologies, because I just heard some very high-pitched whistling noise in my background. Not entirely sure what it was. So if that came up on the recording here, very sorry. Oh my god. Annoying. That was so annoying. Well, it's too late, but might as well pop the pie for the next mob. So we are at the start of our second pie. So if you guys are enjoying the video so far, my random commentary, tips, and bits of advice, Be sure to drop a subscribe on the channel, drop a like on the video, and if you guys are watching on mobile, you know what to do. Swipe on the comments and click the hype button. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Everybody who watches my videos, everybody who comments. I have plans for the future, a lot of different content when it comes to gathering that I want to put out, and every day I get better because of you guys. So again, thank you guys so very much, and let me know in the comments below, what weapon should I experiment with when it comes to gathering? There's a lot of different options. Could do the, what's it called, bloodletter. Could give carving sword a try. One-handed dagger? Something more exotic or out of the box? You let me know. Let me know in the comments. Not gonna lie, we've been actually pretty lucky with these wolves. I'm not entirely sure if they spawn full 5 out of 5. I know the cats do, but been lucky with their stacks. Alright, 2 of them. One of them's gonna do their dash. I'll just have to kill one before it starts. And if these are both full 5 out of 5, thanks to the skinning gear, that is probably at least 20 extra hides. We've already got one skinning book full. We've got a green injured wisp out in the field. Keep an eye on that. Got some dead bodies. Crazy there. Well, this wasn't a dead body, but that was. Nothing really worth it on either of them. Alright, here's the close. Let's go wisp hunting. Try to manifest at least one enchanted wisp this session. So keep an eye out. Can you spot the sparkles when we run by them? Let me know. That's another thing. Let me know in the comments down below. If you see the sparkles, do you see them when you're gathering? Do you see them in these videos? Do you know what I'm talking about, or do you think I'm just batshit crazy? We're back up over into the corner we started in. Oh, here we go. Epic Wisp. Decent chance to give us T8. Almost guaranteed chance to give us tier 7. This is exactly what we need. And this is tier 8. So let's just make a note of our exits. Pretty center of each side. And then a broken road at the north end. Now, I am going to pass up the flat nodes because it's just going to take me way too long to gather. But we definitely want every single tier 8 mob we can find. So, fingers crossed. Let's hope we can find some good ones. Or, you know, 8 enchanted, despite how slow it is. Speed this up a little bit. And we triple procced that. That is amazing. Gotta be careful right here. This is a big camp in a tier 8 zone. I don't need any of the trouble that has the potential to bring my way. Nope. Oh, damn it. This is combat guy on a bow. Let's move towards the exit just in case he wants to be a jerk. Nope. Alright, now we can loop back towards that 8-1. So we got some 8-1 stones, 7-1 wood. 2 8-1. Very nice. So, at least one other bow guy running around in here. I would definitely recommend mount and dismount method. It's not a surefire detection unless you get it timed right, but it's better than nothing. Haven't seen any tier 8 mobs yet, have we? Couple nodes, which has been nice. Ooh. 4 8-1 stone. Very nice. And we made it to level 4 tier 8 stoning. Enemy player just south of us. Keep an eye on him. Alright. Ooh. That, ladies and gentlemen, is tier 8, but we're not going to be able to get it because that is a hard flagged guy. Another gatherer, though. I'm not going to risk it. It's unfortunate, but I'm just not going to risk it. Perhaps we will be rewarded for our safe play. All right, not bad. Let's see. Decent grab. I know I just passed up that 6.1, but we're going to swing up here and See what's stomping around. And we filled up the wood journal. So you'll notice certain resources tend to have a, I guess amplified is the right word for it, spawn rate around certain geographic features. The most notable being that fiber spawns next to these small ponds. They'll spawn right next to all this water. So big old water feature right in the center. I bet there's a whole bunch of fiber all around it. And this is a full 11 out of 11. As you can see, we gather this fiber way more faster than any of the tier 8 nodes we've been able to gather thus far. We do have an injured wisp spawning in about a minute and a half over where we started. So hopefully we can avoid that. I don't want to go anywhere near that. Probably going to be a really strong one. Most likely purple. So I'll just let the combat folk handle that. And perfect. That scout giving us quite a lot. I'll take that, tier 7. Probably gonna aggro the stone guy too, but... Oh, no. Perfect. Wow, okay. That's really unlucky. In a tier 8 mist, it's only a green injured wisp. And there's the close of this. We still have 8 minutes left on our pie. So how about we gather through, I'm thinking? Then just take a T6 Wisp for a few minutes before we go back to Brazilian. Seems to be a gathering pit. What's down there? Oh, doesn't matter what's down there when this is up here. Another gatherer. That was the other guy. Oh, nope. Pretty sure he dismounted. He was trying to make a move on me. Yep. He invised. We could hear it. So we heard him invis, and we heard him lose his mount, but I'm also pretty sure he saw me swing this way, so I don't think we'll be able to get our friendly tier 8 right there. Yep, there he is. Which is really unlucky with the tier 8 skin, aren't we? He's very confident, whereas I am very not confident in fighting. Oh, is he following me? Oh no, this is a completely different guy. That is a completely different person. We're gonna have to be very careful. That was a very juiced guy. Somebody's moving that injured Wisp. It was right next to us, too. And it's Juicy Boy, I guarantee you. A different Juicy Boy, but Juicy Boy nonetheless. Some sort of Flappy Bird is just on the other side of this rock. Chance of us getting it is pretty low, though. Player somewhere. Yep. There was... Who is that? Let's see. Yep, that's the Juicy Boy. First Juicy Boy that was chasing us. So we're just going to head on this way. I'd love to not lose the 4.5 minutes on our pie, but may very well have to give it up. Oh. Where's the exit? Alright. Because we're being chased, I probably wouldn't be able to get into a mist in time, so we're going right back to Brazilian to do a full depot. Besides, we are only losing 4 minutes on our pie. So in 56 minutes, we blew our million an hour goal out of the water. GG's easy. Absolutely. Big part because of that tier 8 mist, but most of it was from tier 6. So let's see how much we made. So stream stockpile, so I can... First, actually, let's see what we have. So first we have 69.3 million in our materials chest, including journals down here. So 69.3 plus 6.06 million brings us to a total stockpiled value of 75.36 million. So we have 75.36 million in our session profit from these videos. Let's go ahead and pop our tools in, as well as any books that haven't been filled, and those or that. So that brings us to 1.89 million. So to answer the question that we asked at the very beginning, are the mists going to be a viable gathering spot, or are they going to be the next main or big gathering spot of 2026? I'd have to say yes. I mean, that entire hour we ran into, what, one guy that absolutely wanted us, and it was that fire staff. Not even the frost staff wanted to touch us. So 1.89 million in an hour out of the mists. It's the safest, as we've established in the last video, because we don't have to worry about huge groups, and it's pretty damn profitable. So let's go ahead and add this to the stockpile so we can figure out how much total we have. So first, all the materials and the journals. Now the miscellaneous goodies. So 7.36 plus the 1.99 we brought back in brings us to a total stockpile of 77.25. 77.25 million stockpiled, guys. That is less than 23 million to go to our goal of 100 million. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video down below in the comments. Don't forget to like, and if you aren't already, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time.